Lab number 269. Now it's time to add push notifications to our mobile application. As you remember, previously we had push with version 7.1, and in this particular lab we were checking if push is supported, and if that was supported we were registering for event source callback, and the push was sent using the basically defined notification settings using the adapter. So right in adapter we had those things, and we were subscribing for my push. So now the way how it's done is a bit different. We don't have any more event source based notifications. We will be using tag based notifications here, and basically everything that we have here can be simply removed. So the API was totally changed. Now push is a separate plugin. So as you remember, we were installing Cordova plugin MFP push, and the way how we write in that is also differs. So right here we will load something like init push function. So let's have it here like scope init push, and we can define it somewhere here underneath. So basically what we need to do inside is to use API MFP push, and there we have several things. So firstly we will initialize push. So basically here we will have two callbacks in case everything will be successful, so something like success, and second one in case everything will be not so great, so we will have function, let's have failure for example. And basically when we will receive this failure response, we will be able to work with that object and get the specific message what happened. The same will happen with success in case we need it. So after initialization, we will need to register notification callback, and afterwards register device itself. So notification callback is needed to actually act somehow when the push is received right within the app, meaning when the application is working. So when it's not working, everything is simple. We'll receive push notification. Once we will click on it, the app will launch. But when the app is actually working, we will need to define that callback that will be called once push is arrived. And what we'll define there will be actually triggered on that event. So MFP push, again, this API register notifications callback. This is the API, and then we can specify one more function, something like scope notifications or notification received, because we are talking about single notification. So this is the first step, and second is MFP push register device. So register device can also have either success, either failure. So in case we succeed in that, we will subscribe for a specific tag. In case we fail to register, so we will provide the failure response right here, and we will do something with that failure response. So let's talk about success. So let's imagine we succeed to register our device. So here we will define a tag that we are interested to subscribe to. So everything that will be sent to that tag will arrive to us. So let's have a tag something like wallet, for example. Of course, you have the API to get a list of tags from the server, but this time we will just hard code the tag that we are interested in. And next step will be to do MFP push subscribe, and basically subscribe for that tag. So we need to provide tag, which is basically a wallet in our case. and then 2 callbacks in case of success, and in case of failure. Let's also have here success and failure, just like that. And there is one more thing that we need to do for Android. Well, we need to provide options even if there will be empty, and inside options we need to provide the phone number. So just type phone number, and it can be empty actually, but we just need to have it there. And when we will register for a device, we will have here our defined options with empty phone number, and then actually everything will continue to be as is. So to help us, we will do some login right here. So let's have something like console log. Push init success. So in case of failure, we will just have it here. Push init failure and providing the response like that. In case we successfully register device, we will have here login saying push register success, and same idea with failure. And finally, after subscribe, we will say push subscribe success or failure. And in case of failure, also logging, and logging here in case of failure. So this one can be placed before register notification callback, and the callback itself should be somewhere also. So callback will be down there. We will just have one more function, push notification received. This is the way how we call it. We call it just notification received without a push, just like that. So everything that will be arrived, let's say it will be some message objects, can be just displayed. We can do it using simple alert. And basically, if I will just display that message, this will be a JSON object. If you're interested in the push message itself, we need to use JSON stringify and put that message inside. This is the first option to display that JSON object. And the second option will be to point to string exactly. So basically we can type something like message alert to get specific text of our alert that we are interested in. And let's also add some logging here. So something like push notification received, and here our full message. Just like that. Now we can save this controller file. It will reload, but it should fail to subscribe for a push. Yes, and that error is expected because we were reloading app on messages tab without any authentication and so on. And on messages tab it was trying to get JSON store, and so basically switch to cards tab and reload the app there. Okay, so now we can try to enter username and password. Let's go with the correct one. So what we have, let's take a look. So We got our cards, nothing regarding the push. Except the error message regarding this Google Play services. So there is a known bug actually in Google SDK. So the trick is regarding the specific version that is used. I mean the version of Google Cloud Messaging Services. So basically we can go to our Android platform and take a look on our project properties. You may notice that there is the Cordova system library number 2, and there is Google Android, Google Messaging Service, Google Play Services, Google Cloud Messaging Plus, which means the latest. And latest on this moment is 920, which is a bit buggy, meaning you can get this message easily if you're not on the latest operation system. So type here 902, then save this properties file, and what we will need to do, we will need to rebuild this application. So for that we will navigate to our hybrid wallet Cordova project. We will need to type Cordova build Android. Let's go with -d to enable debug. We will need to launch also relaunch our live reload server, so we can close this inspection tab, and we can actually exit from this application version, because we will actually push the new one and exit from the application itself. Just like that. And our live reload server can be also closed. So let's wait until build will complete, and once it will be completed, we will again do CDV Live Android to launch it with Google Cloud Messaging version 902. So we see that build is completed, and now we can also launch CDV Live Android. Actually, it's also doing the build during the launch, so if you want, you can ignore the build step and directly go and launch it here. But the trick is that if something will be wrong during the build using the CDV Live, unfortunately, within this version, you will get 0 messages about that. So it will just hang on this message, like this takes a while, and that's it. You will know 0 details about what's happening underneath, so I prefer doing the build separately and then just running it using the CDV Live, and also it's working much faster in this case using CDV Live. So let's open our inspection one more time, so we'll see what's happening down there. Username and the password we will use again equal. We are inside. So yeah, basically we kind of succeeded with init push, but we were failing with the push register, and this is expected because we didn't have anything configured on the server side. We just had the general things. I mean, we configured the client side, but without any tags, without any configuration on the server side. So our next step will be to configure push on the server side. Of course, we will need to have the active session for that. So you need to go to the application and to push page, and there on the push settings tab, we should fill the actual settings for the push notification services, either from Apple, either from Google, either from Windows. It depends. So now we are interested in Google. And to fill those details, you need to go to Google API console. So just type that in Google, or you can use the bookmark right here if you want a direct access. You will need to enter your email and the password to get inside, so we will continue after I will do it. So once you will get inside, you need to know a few things. First, this may be an issue working with this console if you have course enabled. So in case you have any issues, just disable the cross-region resource sharing extension. Afterwards, if you didn't have any projects before, you will be proposed to create a new one. If you had projects before, you need to select the proper one that you're interested in, and afterwards you need to go to library and navigate to Google Cloud Messaging and make sure that this API is enabled. So right here for me it's already enabled, so I don't need to change anything. Google from time to time doing a redesign of this console, so if it look different for you, just do similar steps in your design. So we also need to create credentials. So we are interested in API key, and that one is actually a server key. So you can just say something like push, and basically let's go with push. So just click create here. It may take a while, it can be quick, it really depends. So what we are interested in copying this API key, putting it inside our server console in Google Cloud Messaging part inside the server key. And the sender ID is basically the project number. So project number can be found if you will go and basically display the project properties or project settings. It really depends, again, based on UI where those settings will be, but normally we are just interested in project number, and you need to find that, copy and pass inside the sender ID. Afterwards, you can click save. So one more thing that we need to do is to define tag. As you remember, we called that wallet. And you can add any description here. And finally, we will be sending notifications. There are two main scenarios within the sending push mechanism. So first one, when there is no security check required to pass before sending push. In this case, we need to use mapping of push mobile client to empty thing, just as we did before during the tests of security. So within our application, you can define the new scope, and this is the predefined scope actually called push mobile clients to nothing. The second option will be to actually map it to something specific, and that security check needs to be passed before sending push. So in this lab we will have no security for sending push, and the last thing that we need to do before actually sending the push notification, so before we are able to send it to somebody, that device should be subscribed. So we need to basically relaunch our application and make sure that that is subscribed. So you can see that push init was successful. Afterwards, you can see that registration happened successfully, like push register success and subscribe success. So now we can go with the devices by tag, for example, select our wallet tag and type something like hello there and send this notification. So if we will do everything right, you will see that basically our notification arrived right here. This is the first step, and that was done using our notification callback. If you remember, within the code, we had this callback looking to display the alert message right there. Let's have a look with our message inside. So the second test will be to see what will happen if our app is closed. So if our app is turned off, and we will even remove it from background. So when our app is removed, so when we have no application loaded and sending the same push, we can say that something like hello offline should arrive in our notification area right here, and when we will click on it, it should launch our app, and again our notification callback should work right after application start. So let's go with our username and password. Yes, and again our notification callback works inside the application. So basically that's all. We finished with our quick test for push notification, and same as for this lab and for this lab series, we did the basic steps for migrating existing application on Ionic 1 from Mobile First Platform Foundation 7.1 to 8.0. So thank you for being with us. I suggest you to take a look on our other lab series. Thank you.